Welcome to Mission SONlight. The third quarter of 2008 turns our focus to the North American Division and the work of lay members who are reaching others for Christ. During the early part of 2008, Mission SONlight took its cameras to the far western reaches of the North American Division and visited British Columbia. Telling the story of Jesus presents challenges here like elsewhere in the world. In a recent census, just over 64% of British Columbians indicated that they were Christian. Almost 36% of the respondents indicated that they had no religious affiliation at all. Many of the Adventist churches in the province are small. With a small pool of manpower, it is difficult to reach such a vast territory. Today, the Adventist Church in Canada is using the work established years ago to reach out to a 21st century society.
VOA Christian Family Radio has been telling the good news since its founding in 1929 by Pastor Harold Williams. Radio was so brand new in those days that this was a new technology that he was becoming involved in, and I guess he had quite an interest in.
The foresight of Pastor William led to remarkable events in British Columbia. 75 years later, Elliot Tam had the vision to bring the Adventist message by radio to his new hometown of Cranbrook, British Columbia. The Tams attended the local Adventist church and would also visit a sister church in Eureka, Montana.
During one of those visits, I found out that they put up a radio tower to broadcast 3ABN to the people in Eureka. And I thought, what a wonderful idea to be able to reach people 24/7. It would be wonderful if we could do something like that for Cranbrook, because it's a small church. It'd be a wonderful way of evangelizing and spreading your word to the people.
There are two federal agencies that regulate radio stations in Canada, the CRTC and Industry Canada. With the CRTC, there are a number of broadcasting regulations that we have to adhere to, obligations such as offering differing viewpoints on matters of general public concern, at the same time exposing our audience to different points of view on religion itself. And this is why we've carried programs from other religions, because we are obligated to do that. It's part of the Broadcast Act, and in order to be on the air here in our country, this is part of our regulations.
Elliot began to research and learn that Voice of Adventist Radio was operating in Newfoundland. VOAR is allowed to broadcast because of a historical action that took place in 1949, when Newfoundland became a part of Canada. At that time, VOAR was granted the right to continue operating as a Christian radio station.
God also has people in this local church like Nathan Hall, who is very good with ham radios. So I brought him in on what I felt impressed to do.
In order to start the project, it was necessary to submit an application and a $500 fee to Industry Canada. Elliot knew that the Cranbrook Church was small and didn't have those kinds of funds. Even though his personal finances were tight, Elliot decided to commit the money. He took the plan to his local church board, and they approved the idea of submitting the application. With approval came the need for a location and equipment, neither of which seemed readily available.
So Garth, one of our church members, kindly offered his home because he lives on a small hill and we can put the tower there.
So the land was secured, but equipment was still needed.
We were contacting some of the businesses in town, and some of them donated poles, and miraculously, the equipment that we were buying, for some reason they didn't have it, but they were late or something like that, and so they gave us a really big discount.
Ian Cotton, pastor of the Cranbrook and Creston Seventh-day Adventist churches, says that the impact on the community has been very positive.
We've had a lady come by the church to tell us how much she appreciated the Sabbath morning worship services. We also had a stall in the mall, and the first couple who stopped by wanted to give us $100 so that they could help support VOAR.
It wasn't long before other Adventist churches in the area began to make plans for their own stations. Elliot first conceived of the idea to begin the station in April. 6 months later, the first broadcast was aired, and by the end of that year, the entire project was completely funded.
From the first station in Cranbrook, we have 8 or 9 stations running in BC right now. If all goes well, by next year, more than half of the churches will have VOAR towers to spread the good news.
These stations will carry the good news to the small towns and large cities across Canada that Jesus is coming again soon.
As of right now, there are 30 applications for the BC Conference, applications from local churches in British Columbia to have VOAR in their town. So your 13th Sabbath offerings will help these small churches in these towns to achieve their goals, as well as others in the provinces across Canada to also put their dream into reality, to help spread the gospel of Jesus through radio.
The mission field of the Seventh-day Adventist Church is not just a foreign land where the national population lives in thatched huts. It's the people you work with, the cashier at the checkout, your next-door neighbors. How will you tell them about Jesus this week, this year? Your 13th Sabbath mission offering will play a part in telling the story of Jesus in the North American division. Begin budgeting now for your gift on Sabbath, September 27th. Reporting from Cranbrook, British Columbia, this is Mission SONlight.
Jesus